And this is the first time he's ever missed when I've been mayor pro tem. So the city's in jeopardy tonight. I didn't state the time. The time I did start right at 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock, I haven't updated my laptop for daylight savings time, apparently. 6 o'clock, this meeting's going great. We'll go ahead and start with an invocation from Councilman Wadman and then the Pledge of Allegiance from Councilwoman Barton.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have to be here as a council, as citizens, as staff, and as members of this beautiful country and that we call home. We thank you for the service of those that protect us, those that serve us in the city, and those that volunteer their time to make this a great place to live. We ask you, please bless us this evening that we can listen and speak, and that we can come to a working and make this a good session for citizens to participate, and as a council as well, that we can make decisions. And we say these things in Christ's name. Amen. Mm-hmm.
Please rise and repeat the pledge. Me? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, make sure he stays down there. I heard he's sick.
Yeah, just get away from all of us.
Thank you both. So first we'll have an oath of office for a new police officer, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Chief Burton.
And council, staff, citizens, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. And this evening, we have one swearing in. I will note that Officer Pimentel, who's listed on the agenda, his family and his girlfriend had conflicts, couldn't be here, so he requested to delay his ceremony until a time that his family could. But I want to ask Darius Fort to come up here. And this is the officer that we're swearing in tonight. Darius has worked for the Millard County Sheriff's Office for the past year, but he's from up here, so he wanted to get a little closer to home and transferred to our agency, which we're very fortunate to have him. It turns out that Darius is a parachute rigger in the 19th Special Forces Group, which is my old unit. So he packs the parachutes for the soldiers to jump. So, Mayor Pro Tem, if you want to come down.
Where does he normally stand?
Usually just right here.
You want the picture of him, not me.
There you go.
Oh, you're in it.
Oh, I'm sorry for you. So, raise your hand and say after me. I state your name.
I, Darius Fort,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of Utah,
and the Constitution of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Now, at the time that we do the swearing in, we also present the officer with a commission. So I'll read a portion of the commission, just so that the audience can see it. This is from the Saratoga Springs Police Department Certificate of Commission as a Police Officer. The Chief of Police of the Saratoga Springs Police Department has reposed special trust and confidence in the loyalty, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Darius Fort. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is appointed as a police officer effective November 25th, 2024. Given under our hands the 25th day of November 2024 in the city of Saratoga Springs, Utah. Signed, Jim Miller, Mayor, and Andrew Burton, Chief of Police. And then there's one final thing in Sterling. Are you it? This is Darius's brother, Sterling, and he's going to pin the badge. It turns out that Sterling works in our Top Stop over here on the corner.
Oh.
One of our officers went into that Top Stop, spoke to Sterling, and found out that his brother was a police officer. sort of a recruiting,
We recruit where we can.
a little bit of a recruiting situation there. So it's fitting that the brother who works at Top Stop that kind of set this up is the one pinning the badge. But
Notice he's wearing his vest. Is that trust?
Send all these to Melissa.
all right, thanks. We'll be downstairs for just a minute for some photos, then I'll be back in the meeting.
Thank you. Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
Next, we have another presentation for our city recorder. Is that Kevin or Mark? Or someone else giving it?
Board up. Thank you.
All right. Well, Mayor and Council, well, Mayor Pro Tem, I guess, and Council, thank you for your time and this opportunity to recognize Nikki. My name's Alicia Fairborn. I'm the city recorder for Hideout City. And
Lucinda Thomas with the town of Genola.
And Tisha Wilson with Lehigh City.
and Lucinda and I are on the UMCA board, and
I just love Nikki.
yeah, she's in our regional
She
group
is
as well. So, we represent the Utah Municipal Clerks Association in our partnership with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. The mission of the organization is to provide our members with educational and networking support to promote positive professional interaction with elected officials and staff and the general public, and to enhance the awareness and value of the the municipal clerk and recorder profession. Our international organization offers 2 certification programs. These programs are administered locally here in Utah by the Municipal Clerks Association, and we have developed an amazing partnership with Southern Utah University to provide the educational opportunities for these programs. Nikki has already completed the requirements to obtain a certified municipal designation, which requires a completion of university-level coursework, earning a minimum of 60 educational points and 50 points related to work experience. And just to put that in perspective, 1 point is equal to every 2 hours of class time. So 60 points is 60 points reflects 120 class time hours. But now she has fulfilled the requirements to obtain the Master Municipal Clerk designation, which is an advanced continuing education program that prepares clerks and recorders to perform more complex and advanced municipal duties. This program has an extensive and rigorous educational component, again, of 60 advanced educational points of university training, which require 120 hours of class time. Additionally, a social contribution of 40 points is required for this one. As you can imagine, it takes many years to attain this certification, and we are very fortunate that the Saratoga Springs city mayor, city council, manager recognize improving their employees' skills and knowledge through the continuing education and professional development opportunities. We salute you and your city for your forward thinking. It is our privilege to honor Nikki with this award tonight, recognizing her professional accomplishments.
Come around, you can come around the
Yeah,
front.
let's do it.
All right.
So she can. And we would
Thank
love to
you.
get a picture with the council too,
Yes.
if that's okay. Yeah.
Great. Do you want to just go and just stand in front of the building?
We'll watch the clip.
Just watch the cord.
Smile, Chris.
We invest in continuing education, not on cords.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's yours. Oh,
There's all the goodies.
I know, you get all the things.
You do it for the goodies, right?
Well, I'll just say, it's always great to be able to recognize staff and see that we have a great continuing education program. So congratulations and thanks for being here. We'll go ahead and move on to public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matter not listed on the agenda. Please be respectful in your comments. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Public input is limited to a total of 15 minutes. Is there anyone here for public input? Perfect. Well, not perfect, but then I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to regulate it. Perfect for me tonight. Seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public input. Next, we have reports. The mayor didn't give anything for me to pass along this evening at this time. Any reports from the council?
I just ate some food, sorry. I just want to thank the staff and all of the volunteers and other people who helped make an amazing Christmas in the park last night. That line for Santa, I think, broke a record. 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Santa was, he said he'd stay all night, and we appreciate that, but he didn't get done till 9 o'clock. So the fireworks were amazing. I love the lights this year. That was cool with the fireworks. They had spotlights, and just in general, everyone had such positive things to say. So please pass that on to all of staff that were involved. Thank you, Annalisa.
Thank you. Any others from council?
I just want to give a quick shout out because Nikki was presented that award tonight, but I feel like our employees are all willing to do this, right? I mean, I think it's great that we're able to offer it as well, but that they're willing to do it it takes both sides, right? And super thankful for all our employees for being willing to go, an extra mile to get these different certifications. And just a big shout out to Nikki because we're lucky because she is one of the best for sure. So anyway, thank you to all our employees who are always willing to do that. And then also, of course, Nikki, awesome.
Thank you. I don't have any updates either. Staff?
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, thank you very much. We are very excited for Nikki. She's awesome. But we have a great staff. And to your Councilwoman Barton, your comments about professionalism, that's one of the things that we pride ourselves in our organization. And if I could, from our Public Works Department and the professional nature in which they do everything through our police, our public safety, fire, we have an exceptional staff, and we appreciate your support in all these things. We have no need for a closed session tonight. And we appreciate that. And then just as an item of update for you, we have begun preparing for the council offsite, which will be happening in the January. So we're working on those kinds of agenda items and things, and we will be having a lot more prepared for you in the coming weeks and months. So that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We do have the department quarterly reports for community development in the packet. And unless there's any questions, we'll go ahead and move to the consent item.
Entertain a motion?
What, Councilman Karn, did you have a comment?
Nope.
Did you have anything in the I didn't ask you, I apologize.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent items as listed on today's agenda.
We have a first. Do we have a second? A second from Councilwoman Barton. Councilwoman Barton? McComber?
Aye.
Aye. Wadman?
Aye.
Karn?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll go ahead then and move on to business item 1, approval of new planning commission 4-year terms. Scott A. Hill and Colton Miles, resolution R24-65 dated today. Mark or
Sarah, you helped sit in on the interviews.
Did you want me, okay,
you
do
want
we
to-
just talk about our candidates? Okay, great. So Scott has been on our commission. He's been filling a term that was vacated, so not a full term. He's been filling a partial term. He has great insight. He loves serving the community in this way, and it's really great to have him on our commission. We did interview, we do have 2 vacancies because we have term limits. One of our favorite commissioners has reached his term limits, which is 2 years. He's actually been on 9.5 because he also started with a partial. And then we have a commissioner moving out of state. So that left us with 2 spots to fill. We did interview 4 candidates. We did have Councilman Wilden mention, why do we do interviews for volunteer positions? And Saratoga Springs is a fantastic city, and it's fantastic that we have candidates willing to volunteer their time and have that interest and then come and be interviewed for a volunteer position. That is a pretty impressive thing, I believe. So out of the 4 candidates, we chose Colton Miles, and then on the next resolution, Chuck Karn. And the reason for that was in the responses to the questions and just the interview, and also the location where they live in the city, we felt that they were the most appropriate of the 4 who applied. The other 2 were fantastic as well. We hope that they apply in the future, but we did choose those 2 just because their responses were they had really good responses to the questions asked during the process.
And before I turn it over to the council, I'd just like to, I know he's not here, but I appreciate Mayor Miller. I know in many cities, there's no interviews. It's just a political favor sometimes or whatnot. But what was it, 11 years ago, he set up, let's involve staff, let's have himself, and the mayor pro temp. This is the second time I've been able to participate in it, like 6 or 7 years ago. So even though he's not there, I think it'd be good for the minutes. The mayor's really established a great process that I hope the rest of the cities mirror. Do we want to make comments or have them come up first?
Yeah, they can come up first.
Yeah, so we know Scott Hill, but we'll go ahead and have you come up first to show Colton Miles first how it's done.
Well, Mayor Pro Tem and council members and staff, it's exciting to be able to go for a full 4 years now. I have had an exciting 1.5 years of taking knowledge and experience I've had to bring to this city. But the thing that I think is so critical is that I have grown tremendously. This is a phenomenal city that has outrageous growth, and you've got to be on top of it or it goes sideways. The opportunity to be on the downtown master planning task force, that was one of the highlights so far. Working with the Planning Commission and Sarah, one of the highlights, because they are always prepared. They always ask the right questions. And so as a commission, we just ask a few more questions and we move forward. The last thing I'd like to say is the ability for commissioners to go to the American Planning Association Utah chapter conferences have been phenomenal. Great networking, great knowledge, and it's something that I've truly enjoyed the full round experience that I've had in the last 1.5 years, and plan to give all of my strength and knowledge and passion to this for the next 4 years. So thanks for considering me and asking me, and I'm truly excited.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any
for him?
questions?
Can I
Thanks
just say
for-
something real quick?
No.
Just because
I'm
I was
turning
able to
off
work
your-
with Scott on the planning commission for 6 months or something. It wasn't for very long, but what I really appreciate about Scott is he had so much background knowledge because of his background experience and just how cities are ran differently, of course, and done different things and stuff like that, but so much background knowledge that he brought to the commission just from his positions before where he led. So I thought that was a tremendous asset to our planning commission. So I'm excited you're back for 4 more years. I mean, it's awesome, and I really enjoyed. Again, it was for a short time before I left, but I just loved your input and all your, like I said, all your knowledge was so beneficial for the planning commission. So welcome back. Excited to have you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Colton, do you have your 15-minute speech prepared for us?
Well, Mr. Mayor Pro Temp and members of the City Council, as well as staff, thank you for this opportunity to serve our city to serve our community. My wife and I and our little family have lived in Saratoga Springs for 9.5 years almost. So we've seen a lot of change and growth, and we call this place home. So we're excited to give back to the community. We're excited to be part of this and look forward to working with all of you in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Go ahead.
For the commissioners who left, we, at their last commission, do they get, like, we do plaques and things for them, like,
We're inviting them to the first meeting in January
to do that
those.
here?
Yes,
Okay, good, because I want to make sure that we recognize them, because that's a lot of years of service.
yes, absolutely.
Something that is like, and a lot of years of service in one of the most tumultuous, major growth, huge amounts of effort.
Right.
I mean, you think about the last 9 years, like what we've gone through. But I look at the smile of Sarah, because Sarah's been next to me and for 15 years doing this, and I appreciate all that the staff does and the Planning Commission. It's always been very helpful for me. I don't know if my peers do, but I actually do read your the minutes that come out of the Planning Commission. I'm really curious what you think and what concerns you might have, because that's something that I can then draws my attention to my own efforts in preparing, and it helps streamline my process. What's the point of having a commission if you don't listen to what they have to say as a recommending body? So I've always appreciated them for all these years. And I remember seeing your comments and notes, and now I get to call you a peer here, which is fabulous as well. So just appreciate all that you do, and thank you for your continued service.
Yes, thank you.
I'll just say that same thing as Michael, is that, like, we really do read the notes and minutes and stuff from the meetings, because I feel like we're like a team working together, even though we're not in the same meeting, but we really are. And sometimes when I'm thinking one way and I read your guys' notes, I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So again, we really appreciate your guys' feedback and the notes that are taken that we could read and stuff like that. And we do pay attention. We do look at those. For me, it's because I was on Planning Commission, and so I know what was there, but I think we all do it. And so I think it's important. Again, we're a team, so.
Before we go on, because I'm going to forget if we don't say it, we're going to address business item 1 after a few more comments, and then we'll go and then have you come up, Chuck, as part of business item 2. So go ahead. Lance, and then Kevin, then Mark.
So just to echo what's been said, I even attend some planning commissions. I'll sit in the background just because it gives me a head start on what's coming up. And I really appreciate that. You guys do a lot of vetting for us, with not only that, but staff as well. So we get your comments, we get your packets, but we also involve, because you guys have a lot of the same questions that I might not have thought of or similar. So I appreciate that.
Thanks. Kevin, you had your button on.
Just a matter of clarification, just on process. This is a mayoral appointment, so the council is giving its advice and consent on this. So when you make the motion, it would be more appropriate to say approval of the appointment of planning commissioners, and then as well as Mayor Pro Tem, don't sign the resolutions. That'll be Jim or Mayor Miller that will sign those.
Okay. Mark?
And what the code says is the mayor appoints those with the advice and consent of the council. That's why it's on the council agenda.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. Mark, you didn't have any?
I was going to say the same thing. He did it far more eloquently.
Great. Councilman Carn, do you have any comments on this specific business?
Yeah, just briefly. I unfortunately don't read the notes of the Planning Commission because I watch the YouTube videos. But I also served on the Planning Commission for some time before. I'm a meeting junkie, and I don't apologize for it. But I do watch their meetings. I was also on the Planning Commission for some time before I was elected council, and I appreciate the unappreciated job that they do.
Thanks, Councilman Carn. So I'll entertain a motion for business item 1.
I will make a motion to approve the appointment, the mayor's appointment of the new planning commissioners to a 4-year term, Scott A. Hill and Colton Miles, resolution R24-65 dated today.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Second. Any more comments? Barton?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Aye. Wadman?
Aye.
Carn?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. So we'll go ahead and move on to business item 2. But before we do that, Councilman Carn, I believe you wanted to make a statement.
Yeah, this next agenda item has a familiar name to me. I just wanted to be clear that through the process, I was not involved with the mayor or staff. In the interview process, I tried to keep very much at arm's length because of my relationship to the candidate, and I will recuse myself from the conversation and the vote.
Thank you, Councilman Carn. So now we'll start business item 2. Do you mind coming to the podium and telling us about yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Temp and Council. And thank you to those who I got a chance to meet in the interview process. Ken and Sarah, it's nice to meet you and learn from you. I moved here 2 years ago, built a home between the temple and the lake. And I have some experience working with local government. I used to work for Spanish Fork City Power and Hall Engineering that did development in Spanish Fork. And I work now with the federal government through funding with the Department of Energy for my primary employment, which is with Dow Chemical. I'm being new to the area. I'm just looking forward to meeting everyone, to building networks and friends in the community. I have interest in the community. I have 2 sons still at home and 3 children living in Provo, and many family members, as you just heard, in the community. So I have a concerted interest. And one of the reasons I came here was for family, but also for growth. It's just very exciting to be in Utah. It's a high growth area, and I see that as a good thing, and I'd like to contribute. So thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Man, if you couldn't see him, you could hear the family resemblance. My goodness.
I leaned over and whispered to Michael. "Oh, sounds just
Genetics
like
on that are
Chris."
pretty strong. Do all the brothers sound like that? Or, I don't know.
Well,
Welcome.
welcome. And interestingly enough, I didn't even connect even with the last name brothers until I got into the interview. And I'm like, you sound just like, and I'll say this on record, we got the wrong Carn on council. I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Even laughing.
Yeah. But I will say, just so you know, I'm here in person. Your brother's not, so I love the city more. So
It's a running joke.
Anyway, we'll go ahead and, sorry, I'm out of order. And thank you. Entertain a motion for business item 2.
I move that we appoint,
Approve the appointment.
approval of the appointment of a new planning commissioner for a 3-year term, Chuck Carn, resolution R2468 dated today.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Any other comments? Hearing none. Wadman?
Aye.
Wilden, aye. McComber?
Aye.
Barton?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 with Councilman Carn recusing himself from the vote. Congratulations, thank you all, and thanks for signing up for another term as well. Like everyone said, we enjoy working with you guys and seeing those notes. I don't watch the YouTube. I have other things to do, but I do read the minutes. So welcome. We'll go ahead and move on to business item 3, consolidated fee schedule update, sewer and garbage rate change from TSSD and Bayview Landfill Resolution R24-67 dated today.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. As stated in the title, this is to update the city's consolidated fee schedule. Travis, that's my home. Timpanogos Special Service District is raising their rates at the beginning of the year, and so is Bayview Landfill. And so this update is to reflect the changes that they're doing. It's entirely passed through. There's no additional cost to the city or implementing on those rate increases. So if you look through the report, TSSD is raising the rates by 65 cents per 1,000 gallons, and that's what the city is raising by, for example. Any questions for staff at this time?
Any question? Hearing none, can I make a motion?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion from myself. I move that we approve business item 3 as stated on the agenda, resolution R24-67 dated today. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a second from Councilman Wadman. Any other comments? Hearing none. Aye. McComber?
Aye.
Barton?
Aye.
Carn?
Aye.
Wadman?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and move on to business item 4, Riverview Townhomes, preliminary plat and site plan. Dr. David Meredith as applicant.
If the applicant's here, they can come.
Yes, if the applicant's here and you'd like to come in the hot seat,
Sit in the chair there.
then I will hit the on button.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. As stated, this item is for the Riverview Townhome Project located approximately at 1022 North Redwood Road. This is a preliminary plat and site plan submittal that are being brought forward to you this evening. As you can see here, this property is located right up against Jordan River. It is part of a larger development, which includes the property immediately to the west, which consists of commercial, the commercial portion of this development. This is that eastern side of it, right up against the river, and is a proposition for townhomes. And all of this property was rezoned together as mixed use when it originally came forward. And our applicant, David Meredith, is here this evening. My apologies for not announcing that. So firstly, we have here the preliminary plat, which was submitted with this. This submittal was fully compliant with code with the exception of one red line that was remaining on the preliminary plat. You can see it there at the top of the page. It's just regarding some off-site drawing that was included on the plat, and when this plat goes to record, that will need to be removed so that's not recorded together with the plat. The site plan, like I said, is fully compliant with code. You can see here the two major components to this development include the construction of Riverside Drive, which will be fully built as shown here on the property, and then 3 buildings of townhome units for a total of 15 townhome units located adjacent to the river. Here's the landscape plan for this project. It is fully compliant with our landscape code. Of note, they are removing some trees along the river as part of this development. They are replacing those trees at a 2-to-1 ratio as code requires them to do so. Additionally, here there are the elevations. I have the elevations for all 3 buildings here in this presentation for you to reference as you're looking at this. They are fully compliant with code. Included in here is the representational color board and material board that you can see on the left side. On the right is the front and rear elevations. These townhome units will front toward Jordan River, and so they'll be essentially rear-loaded townhome units, the garage facing Riverside Drive. So here are the side elevations for that first building. Here are the front and rear elevations for the second building. The side elevations there. The front and rear on the third building. And all of these will utilize the same materials, same colors as shown on the plans. And then side elevations there as well. I did want to make note of the floor plan of these buildings. Like I said, the garage will be on the first floor and will be located fronting onto Riverside Drive. The second and third floors will both have elements included that will be fronting onto the river such that the second floor will have decks overlooking the river and the third floor will include rooftop gardens. So there will be this element that interacts with the river that they'll be fronting onto. And I did want to highlight that just for reference as well. These units range in size from 1,300 square feet, not including the garage, to 2,600 square feet, not including the garage. So there will be a mix of size in these units as well. So with that, any questions that you guys have, I'm available as well as our applicants this evening.
Does the applicant have anything to add before we turn it over to council questions?
No, other than it's been a long process. But I think we've got a beautiful project and beautiful townhomes, and I think the views of the river and whatnot will enhance that whole area. So I've got also my chief engineer here, Matt Brown.
Great. Thank you. I think Councilman McComber, you had?
Yeah, a little bit towards staff as well. This is in the waterfront zone, right? And
Correct.
so this meets the four-sided architecture, so, because backing on Riverside, which is a major collector, so it looked a little plain, but it meets all of that code.
David did a
does.
thorough analysis of that.
Because it's,
Yeah.
all the nice design is for kayakers and Lehigh residents, and all of the not-so-nice architecture is facing into our city. And it's sort of, to me, that defeats the whole purpose of the waterfront zone. Again, once again, I'm getting frustrated with, we have gateway ordinance, we have waterfront ordinance, and we're not getting anything for this.
So there are two different, this is not part of the mixed waterfront zone per se, but you are correct.
It is part of the mixed zone, is not?
Mixed use is what it's part of.
This isn't in the mixed waterfront zone, it's on the water.
It's in the mixed use zone. It is in the waterfront buffer overlay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
The Jordan River buffer.
Overlay that we
Yeah.
have. That overlay had architectural enhancements. They get different densities for, they had commercial and things like that, but
Correct.
obviously they're getting all the density without doing commercial.
Yes, and they're meeting the requirements for all of the articulation, my apologies there, on each of those sides, as well as, you know, all the requirements for primary material change, shift in elevation in terms of horizontal and vertical shifts.
Well, I appreciate, I read that it complies. This isn't towards them. This is towards you. We failed once again. The whole purpose of this is to have nicer looking architecture, and our code allows for the nice architecture to face literally Lehigh and the river, and the not so nice part of the architecture is facing directly into our city center. And it defeats the whole purpose of this. And so maybe we need to rethink it again.
Well, so the.
I thought it had to have four-sided architecture.
Understand what you're talking about. There is a zone called mixed waterfront, and those detailed requirements that we did were for that zone, not for this zone. If you would like us to look at additional standards for additional zones, we can certainly do that.
So we have the overlay. That doesn't have any requirements?
No, it does not. In the overlay, it just follows our general residential requirements. And so all of the mixed waterfront standards are for that zone, not for the overlay.
So why do we have an overlay then, if it just refers to our existing?
The overlay requires that the homes do address the river, that they don't just put their back to the river, and that there is a trail along the river, and that there is a certain setback from the river. So there are quite a few standards in that overlay related to the waterfront.
And I do notice that there is a slip lane, so they come off of Riverside, and then the driveways aren't on Riverside.
No.
That's
Right.
very,
My apologies there, yes.
because
That's
it's
correct.
fronting Riverside, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, Riverside
They're
is a very
dumping
busy
onto-
road, like that would be absolutely horrible.
Mark, did you? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, Mark, did you?
No, and I just wanted to circle back. So this was part of the whole project. The commercial that came in on Redwood was the first phase of the project, and this is the second phase, the housing portion of that. So that is the mixed use. We did get the commercial in the first phase, and now the housing is the second phase, which would complete the project. So
Thank you for the clarification.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure because it was two-part, and for the first time, we actually saw the commercial phase before the housing portion of it. So I thought that was actually a positive on that as well.
Closer to Redwood, it makes sense as well. As for the project, I think that you're very creative in creating flat roof without having be flat roof. I thought that was quite creative because you're using it looks like a straight line, but then it slopes away, which I thought was a very smart way to do it. Because we don't allow the flat roofs in our townhomes. So I thought that was really creative, and I think the product looks great. I mean, I don't have anything against the project. I just am frustrated because this is not just this project, but just so many, like we've done all these efforts to try and make our city unique and pretty, and we're failing time and time again. And so I would like to sit down with staff, and anyone else, I request from the Mayor Pro Temp that I have the ability to sit down and have a real conversation about our gateway overlay and our along our rivers and our foresight architecture. I mean, it's just time and time again, I just feel like it's not meeting the vision of the council. Like, I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I think that we'd actually get this figured out, and we still haven't. And it's still, I mean, nothing against, you're following code, but the back of your product, it looks institutional. It doesn't look like housing. It looks not great. But you can do what you want to do, but when you're going along Riverside, you look over there and it looks very flat, very mono. I'm just completely frustrated that all the pretty is literally across the street for Lehigh residents to be able to enjoy. And what this is in Saratoga Springs, and it's not putting forth what I personally had in terms of the vision for what we were doing along the river and what we're doing along the lake. So just very, very frustrated. This last year has been very difficult. So I'll turn the time back over to you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Councilman Barton?
I just want to say one quick thing about the square footage of, I love seeing the smaller square footage. I know some people don't, but for me, hopefully it makes it a little bit more affordable for like our young adults and our young families. I say this all the time, but I have adult children between the age of 22 and 28. They would love to be in Saratoga someplace. And so for me, the smaller square footage is a big bonus. And I hope that it is affordable for some of our younger families and our young adults and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. And again, I think the product looks really great. I agree with Michael. I think we need to look at things a little bit, but I think what you guys brought forth to us, because you meet everything, it looks really great. And it's very creative, and I love that. And I love the idea of bringing in the river. I know we require that, but what you guys are doing for that is awesome. So I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Karn, did you have anything?
Yes, I do. I've been waiting for this housing piece to come in since we approved the initial commercial, so I appreciate that it's coming. My biggest concern here, and it was brought up in Planning Commission, and I had a resident reach out this week, is the fact that Riverside Drive is a road to nowhere right there. And I know at Planning Commission, I believe it was Mr. Osmond, correct me if I'm wrong, was talking about working with the property owner to the north to try and connect that to the existing Riverside Drive to the north. I would love to see that happen. I encourage the applicant to continue to work with that landowner to get that connected, because right now, while we need every section of Riverside Drive we can get, it's dead end on both ends. And the only way to access this housing is through the commercial parking lot, which I don't love. So the sooner we can get Riverside connected to the north, the better. It's a very, very small connection to the existing Riverside Drive. I realize to the south is going to take a lot more work. It's a lot bigger piece, but we need to get that connected to give another outlet to those new residents.
That's good.
Thank you. Councilman Karn, Wadman? The only thing I have, a lot of good things have been said. I appreciate going through it. I kept scrolling and seeing lots of complies and what to shall complies. So thank you for working with our staff to get there so we don't have to have a lot of conditions. That's great. That being said, anything else from staff? We'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move that we approve business item number 4, Riverview Townhomes preliminary plat and site plan located at 1050 North Riverside Drive. Dr. David Meredith as applicant, dated for today. I don't need that now.
We have a first.
Second.
Second from Councilman Wadman. Any other comments? Karn?
Had to come off mute. Aye.
Wadman?
Aye.
Aye. McComber?
Aye.
Barton?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. There we go. So, Mark, did you have something?
For next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then before we go on to item 5, Councilman McComber, your comment about having a sit-down meeting, I think that'd be great. I'll talk to Jim, just to make, or the mayor, I should say, and let him know we
And if
talked.
any other council member, we can have two, so.
Yeah.
And just based on previous comments, we've already started doing research and pulling more codes to look at how we can beef up our code in that regard.
Great, thank you.
So we're more than happy to meet with you. We've started the research. We want to compile the research.
The gateway, but now we maybe need to include this now too.
Yeah, you had brought up warehousing and now we'll talk about this.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to participate with Councilman McComber?
I'd love to, if nobody else does.
This one's been pulled.
Okay. I'll let the mayor know that you two are working with staff. Mark, on business item 5?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out the applicant was unable to be here this evening, so they've asked that we take the item and continue it to the next meeting.
Okay. So entertaining a motion for tabling item 5.
So made to the next meeting?
Second.
The first and second, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I think that's all we have. No closed session, right?
No.
So meeting adjourned. I don't know how.